Hi everyone, my name is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and today I want to talk about the 10 SPFBO books that I am most excited to try throughout the next year. If you don't know anything about SPFBO, it is something that Mark Lawrence and a bunch of bloggers do every year looking for the best self-published fantasy fiction book. I am not associated with the competition. I just like to follow along, and realistically, I haven't followed along well in the past. So this year, I wanted to get a jump start on it, look at what was in the competition, and see which ones really kind of sounded good to me and what I like with fantasy books, and see which ones were on my radar to try. There are 300 books in SPFBO, and I did look up all 300 to find out which 10 I was the most interested in reading. This has been a lot of research and taken me a little bit of time, and I'm really excited to share the ones that I'm excited about with you. You are definitely going to see a theme as we go through these books. There's definitely subgenres and tropes and settings that I clearly love in fantasy that made these books stand out to me when I was doing research and why they're on this list. There's also some that maybe the cover just got me along with the synopsis and I just wanted to give it a try. So let's dive in and see the 10 that I'm interested in. They're in no particular order because after deciding on 10, that was the best I could do. I could not rank them. So we're just going to talk about the 10 that I'm most excited to read. The first book on this list is The White Mask Society by A.M. Colwell. This cover I absolutely adore. It's very simplistic, but also very classic, and I really loved it. The synopsis didn't give me a lot to go on, so that's definitely why I'm mentioning the cover, because I don't have a lot from the synopsis, but I do have a little bit that has me intrigued. So in this book, we follow Yara, and Yara has visions, and one of her visions is that she is going to be captured by a mad scientist. She does not know how true her visions are and if she has any way of changing the future. So she and a few of her friends do try to change this future that she has foreseen. She teams up with 3 guardians, which include a nymph and a shapeshifter, and they try to change her future. Something about this, I think it was the mad scientist and the different society that they're forming together, really stood out to me, and I'm interested to see how it kind of all plays out in this book. The next book is The Lost Redeemer by David Musk. This one, the tagline is really what captured my attention. The tagline is, "A librarian's apprentice uncovers forbidden magic in a secret martial academy." Librarian's apprentice, forbidden magic, sold. But as I read more of this synopsis, it actually reminded me a little bit of Strange the Dreamer, which I adore. So the outline of this is very similar. We follow Nyla, and Nyla is a librarian's apprentice and is researching this ancient civilization and this ancient way of living, and discovers things while doing so. Again, if you've read Strange the Dreamer, you'll know that our Laszlo Strange is very similar to this main character. After doing this research, Nyla finds out that there are other people also looking into this society, and maybe not in a good way. And she decides to infiltrate this academy to see what they are up to and what's going on, and maybe stop what they're trying to do. This is definitely going to be a setting that you will see often in this list, and it is a magical woodsy forest. I love a magical woods setting. So pretty much any book that was set in a magical woods and the synopsis sound interesting, it got on this list. Firstly, we have Woodspell by C.R. Collins. So this one has very little information in the synopsis, so I'm just going to read it. And it says, humanity's time has run out. She'll never be a victim again, but Rowena's new power could destroy her country. The thing that really got me, other than the setting though, is this: a fairy tale for adults. Literally describing the only thing I want in life. Our next magical forest book that has ended up on this TBR is The Rumor of Thorns by Sandel Wall. This is another one I'm just going to read the synopsis for, because I think the synopsis, in just the way it was written, showed me that I would be interested in this book, because it's just a magical way of writing a synopsis. Anyway, you'll see what I mean. Promises of pain and the glint of moonlight on thorns. Something foul stirs in the shadows. An unknown evil stalks the land, and 5 souls stand unwittingly in its path. Destiny has claimed them, even though they choose not to choose this battle for themselves. Together they must stand against the encroaching darkness. In the end, it may claim them all. But here at the start, all we know is a rumor of thorns. Then we have Tea and Empathy by Shauna Swenson. This one may lend a bit cozy. It kind of looks that way from the synopsis, but there was enough about it with kind of this small town and the atmosphere that piqued my attention. In this book, we follow Elwyn. Elwyn is for some reason running for her life and stumbles upon this small village and the healer's cottage, which is abandoned in the village. She sees this as a blessing and decides to move in and take over the craft of being the village healer. She used to do this craft, but has given it up in recent years, but decides to rekindle it and start serving tea with herbs and a magic of empathy to the town. This is all going well until she finds a man who is severely injured, and she starts to wonder if he is a part of the people who were trying to find her at the beginning. As I said, this does feel a bit cozy, but I think there might be enough high stakes in this to keep me entertained, and definitely enough of the atmosphere that I like. This one kind of got on this list just for the title, and also the synopsis confirmed what I thought from the title, and I need to read this. And that is The Sunset Sovereign, A Dragon's Memoir by Laura Huey. When I heard Dragon's Memoir, I went, wait, are there talking dragons? And when I read the synopsis, yes, the dragons talk. And from that, I'm sold, because I remember when I read Priory, had someone told me the dragons talked, I would have picked up Priory much quicker. So I already know that I do love talking dragons, so that's kind of why this made it on this final 10 list. When a dragon finds an assassin sneaking into its lair, it decides to sit down with this assassin and tell him his life story. This also kind of gives me the vibes of The Name of the Wind, because The Name of the Wind is also a character sitting down and kind of telling the story of their life to somebody else. And I really enjoyed the style of that book. So this also reminds me of that as well. We couldn't have an entire list of books and not have a dark academia on here. We just couldn't. It would be wrong. So thankfully, we have The Dark City Rising by C.L. Jarvis. In this book, we follow Professor William, and he has a secret. He is developing a new system of magic, and he is in a school-like setting, so it is dark academia. And in this book, we see him trying to kind of overthrow this medical system that is currently going on and kind of bringing in his new magical system that he would foresee happen. When a noble is murdered, and Cullen finds out that it is somehow adjacent to what he is trying to do, he realizes that it is not going to be easy and he may need to fight the enemy to do exactly what he needs to do. We have a school setting, we have magic, we have a murder. What more do we need? Now, as much as not having any dark academia on this list would be strange, there's one thing that would be stranger if it was not on here, and that is some fairy tale retellings. We have one retelling and two retelling adjacent situations going on that round out this list. The first one is Princess of the Broken by Jasmine Swinburne. This right in the title says it's a dark Rapunzel retelling. I did not even need to read the rest of the synopsis. I didn't need to know, and I honestly haven't. I didn't even want to know. I want to go into this completely blind, except for the fact that it is a dark Rapunzel retelling. That's all I want to know. That's all I know. If you want to know more, you can obviously look up the synopsis, but I'm going into this one completely blind, other than the fact that it's a Rapunzel retelling and it's dark. The Poisoned Empire by Elise Thompson, again, another tagline that instantly had some buzzwords for me. And it says, Cinderella meets the lies of Loch Lamora in this lush romantic fantasy set in a world inspired by the Eastern Roman Empire. Cinderella, check. Lies of Loch Lamora, also a book I really like. So that instantly got my attention that this was fairy tale-like, but also had some high fantasy elements. So we follow two main characters in this book, one of them being Celine. Celine is a poisoner and has poisoner magic and is being arrested for, things that they are doing and have to fake being somebody else to get out of this predicament that they have found themselves in. That is the Lies of Loch Lamora part of this book, because that is very similar to like our band of thieves and liars. That is Lies of Loch Lamora. But then we do have a prince and his court, and we have someone kind of coming in that shouldn't be there, or at least by people's standards should not be there, and maybe falls for the prince, and that is our Cinderella part. Do these two parts have something to do with each other? I would suspect that they do. Lastly, we have Into Fairland by A.J. Ponder. This one says, if you love fae, fairy tales, and heart-pounding adventure, pick up this copy. I love all of those things. I have recently realized that actually Fae is the one time that I like fantasy romance. I haven't really put that to the test, but there seems to be some correlation there. And also this has fairy tale elements, which is also a time where I like fantasy romance. So here we go. It also says we never steal children. We only swap them, an eye for an eye, a child for a child. So it sounds like there's going to be some changelings happening in this book, which I always do find kind of fascinating how that plays out. But that is the end of this list of the 10 books that I really am interested in from the SPFBO 300 list. If you got this far in the comments, leave a rose emoji because a lot of these books do have roses on the cover because, you know, fairy tales, roses, all the things. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.